today I want to make an argument as to why I feel like the 5th gen Camaro SS is the best Camaro. I think it's the king of all Camaros. Don't get me wrong, I like all Camaros. Now that's a lot to be considered with me making a statement like that, but I got about 5 talking points that I want to touch on as to why I feel that, you know, the 5th gen Camaro is the best Camaro. So the first point I want to touch on is the styling of the Camaro. Back in 2007, they basically unveiled that car. Everybody remembers Transformers in 2007 with Shia LaBeouf. They unveiled the Camaro. They started building it, I believe, in what, 06, 05. I think they started building it 05, 06. And then they kind of first showed it on Transformers in 2007. And then they had a couple setbacks, which it got delayed until pretty much 2009. The first generation, I mean, it was perfect. That's when times was good, you know what I'm saying? That's when you could have them big stanky gas guzzling V8s. At that time, that, in my opinion, was probably the best styling. And what they did for this 5th generation was kind of brought back that muscle car body style. They brought back the retro styling, which was a major thing, remember, because they did that with the Mustangs, the S197s, which I used to have one. That was my first car. But they did that with the S197s when they brought back the retro styling. When they did that, it was really important because look today, now in today's current generation of Camaro, it has its look from the 5th gen. The 6th gen Camaro doesn't look like the 4th gen. It doesn't look like the 3rd gen. It was the 5th gen that brought back that actual muscle car look, which now we know is the current Camaro today. It gets its look from the 5th gen, even though they call it the 6th gen. And that's just how important the 5th gen really was. You had a couple of different engine options, which were all pretty reliable. So, you know, you had the V6, which I believe was called the LLT. That was from 2010 to about 2011. You had the V6 that was 2012 to 2015. That was called the LFX. And then after that, the V8 SS, which came with the L99, which I think output was about 415 horsepower. LS3 was in the manuals, is what they called it. It had 425 horsepower. And then you had your big boys. You had the Z28 with the 7-liter LS7. But you had the ZR1 that had the LSA supercharged 6.2 liter, which pretty perfect. But all of the engines pretty much are bulletproof. Now, I'll make a bold statement and say that I personally feel like out of all of the engines in this bunch that I kind of just talked about, the LS3 is probably the most reliable. And the reason I say so is because when you look at the supercharged ZR1, any car that's supercharged, you always sacrifice reliability when you supercharge a car. Now, they come from the factory supercharged. Nobody does it better than factory, but you do sacrifice reliability. And when you get into the LS3 in particular, it was a build based off of the LS1 and the LS2. The last talking point I kind of want to touch on is how modifiable the car really is. I feel like the 5th gen altogether is probably the most modifiable generation. When you look at the 6th gen Camaro SS's, a lot of them already got their little fancy doohickeys on them. A lot of them already have it when they come straight from the factory. The thing about the 5th gen Camaros is that they allow space for us as car guys to modify the car. Some people can say technically the Chevy should have made the car less dull, but at the same time, when you look at it from a positive perspective, that allows us as car guys to really do what we want to the car. The last thing I want to touch on with y'all to really drive my point home is sales, man. Men lie, but numbers don't. I'm gonna go by year. I gotta put my seatbelt on. Look at me tripping. I'm gonna go by year, and as well as a total between 5th gen and 6th gen. So we're gonna go 2010 to 2015 each year, and then I'm gonna give you a total for 2010 through 2015, the whole 5th generation. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go 2016 to 2023 for 6th gen, the full sales on that. So for sales in 2010, the Camaro sold 61,648 units. In 2011, the Camaro sold 88,249 units. In 2012, the Camaro sold 91,314 units. In 2013, the Camaro sold 80,294 units. In 2014, the Camaro sold 86,297 units. In 2015, the Camaro sold 77,502 units, which gives us a total of 485,304 units. Starting the 6th generation in 2016, the Camaro sold 72,305 units. In 2017, the Camaro sold 67,940 units. In 2018, the Camaro sold 50,963 units. In 2019, the Camaro sold 48,266 units. In 2020, the Camaro sold 29,777 units. In 2021, the Camaro sold 21,893 units. In 2022, it sold 24,652 units. And for the final, in 2023, it sold 17,337 units for a grand total of 33,533 units. Now, as you can see, the 5th gen Camaro, for that 6-year span, I know 2010 to 2015 is 5, but you gotta remember 2010 also counts as a year. So 2010, 11, 12, that's 3, 13, 14, 15, that's another 3. So it's about 6 years. That span sold almost what? Over 100,000 more units in that span than the 8-year span of the 6th gen between 2016 and 2023. What I want to make especially clear is this video is not to diss anybody with 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th gen Camaros. Camaros are major budget cars. It's basically like having a Corvette, but something that's a little cheaper and more affordable, because everybody know the flagship car of Chevy is Corvette, so they always put a nice price tag on it. But at the end of the day, the Camaros, pretty much most of them are very good budget cars, and I have respect for each and every one of them. I feel like Camaros are the best car for the money out of all the muscle cars, honestly, but we're gonna make that a different video. Y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna get into more stuff as the week goes on. I'm gonna have some more content coming out this week. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned.